Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sean Lardo, your favorite OITVOIP host, much better than Ray Orsini. Here for another of our Partner First webinars. Going to be what I think is going to be a really good show for most people. We get a lot of questions on taking your MSP to the next level, making money off of it, how to generate more revenue, period, and how to make it more efficient. So I think today everybody will enjoy this one. But again, Sean Lardo, best OIT commentator that's around. Just saying again, but let me bring on, with no further ado, a friend of mine, been in the business for quite some time. He is the CEO of Marketopia. He's been out of Florida, where it's like 75 degrees and beautiful all the time. He rubs on my face daily. But let me bring on Terry Hedden.
Thank you, Sean. And you didn't mention my most important job, being the president of your Facebook fan club.
You know, I didn't want everybody to know how versatile you truly were. Listen, but if anybody's trying to build a network, Terry's the guy on Facebook. But you know,
well, we only have 3 people in the group right now: you, me, and your mom. But we have big plans, and we're going to do big things. It's going to be a big group.
I don't know. Yeah, I think you forgot Marsha as well. I don't know. So thank you, Terry, for spending some time here today. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
No problem, man. Happy to help.
So. First things first is Ray's already saying hello to you. Ray, please stay out of my conversations.
Thank you, Ray.
So I like to, we bring everybody on these for the people we bring on the Partner First webinars are people that really kind of impact MSP businesses, whether it be vendors that are doing any kind of hardware, software, and in your case, you're kind of neither, but you've been in the space so long. But it's people that can be impactful. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to start with some background on you even.
Yeah, sure. Came out of University of Florida, which is, obviously an elite football institution, certainly better than Ohio State or anyone in the state of Pennsylvania. Have a couple degrees. You can see them right there. There's one of them right there.
I see that.
Yeah. So anyway, went to Ernst & Young, traveled around the world, and decided to start an MSP in 2003. Grew it quickly, 49 people we got to in 6.5 years before basically making the decision to sell the business, retire, and then a nice dude named Chris Knowles in North Carolina convinced me to start a Marketopia. And now I'm back working too many hours, spending too much money, but having some fun doing it.
Awesome. So back to the MSP, 6.5 years, is that what you said?
That's what it took us to get to 49 people. And then I had some life drama that kind of had me flatline a little bit for a couple of years, and then started growing again, and then decided to sell the business in 2012. So
we lost Terry. So I guess I'll just make some time here and talk about Terry more, say some bad things or some good things, but hopefully he gets back on. In the meantime, I do want to point out that Ray, I was a backup dancer for 98 Degrees and in sync too. I just really am a good dancer, period. As everybody's seen on the Tech Bar, which will be on next Thursday, 6:30 Eastern. Hopefully we'll get Terry back here in a few minutes, or I'll tell you how to convert a lifestyle business, because I obviously know that with my lifestyle. As he is coming back.
Is there something you need to tell me, man? Did I say something that said the wrong thing?
I'm just thinking you might need a better IT guy in your organization.
I don't know, maybe.
So I think you left off where I was awesome. You were so glad I was here in your life, and you are blessed.
Did you take a nap when I left there? Because no, I sold the business, or I grew the MSP pretty quickly. And then was approached by a strategic buyer and sold it, man. But I love the business, did well, had fun doing it. It's been a very a good experience, running a channel company and MSP. And frankly, I love helping other people, helping other MSPs achieve their dreams. That's what we do now.
Absolutely. And that's awesome. So were there any key indicators that made you successful as an MSP that you would, like, nuggets that you give out?
Well, obviously for this presentation, the most important thing I did was start selling voice over IP services. That was the key to success there. No, I think, as an MSP, I kind of came in from an alternative entry point, right? Most people come in through a technical track, kind of maybe are a technician or a CIO or something like that. And frankly, I'm not a technical person. I'm knowledgeable about tech, but I've never built a computer or anything like that. And I, obviously started an MSP because I loved the idea of recurring revenue and frankly the benefits that managed services brings to the small business. So I launched as an MSP with a fixed cost model in 2003, and enjoyed it, man. It's a great business, and there's never been a better time. Honestly, it's never been easier to make money. It's never been easier to get big. There's so many great solves out there like OIT that weren't there when I launched. You had to do a lot of things yourself, and now you just don't. A lot of things have been baked. And there's some great technologies out there, great service providers to help you. It's a great time to be in the space.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. We talk about a lot with a lot of our partners rather. MSPs, this is a prime time for them. I feel like we've seen very good growth with them, especially. We hate talking about COVID, but the fact of the matter is it exists and it's transitioned the workforce. And MSPs seem to be thriving in that because of the remote access needed for companies.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing that with everybody you work with?
I think VoIP is a mandatory thing for an MSP to have in their portfolio right now. Obviously, everyone got a shock and awe that premise-based phone systems aren't going to work in a work-from-home model. And now pretty much every business is going to have some sort of a hybrid-y, work-from-home kind of option for their employees. We're hybrid now, and we see ourselves being hybrid long-term. And no one can afford for their employees to not be maximum productivity. So I think VoIP is a required part of every MSP's portfolio, and especially getting VoIP from a company who actually cares about their resellers and helps them succeed through webinars like this one.
Absolutely. So I know you have a presentation. People do want to see it, so I want to get into the presentation. Be mindful of time with everybody here. We obviously, just like all of our webinars, we will keep this as entertaining as possible. We will go through some slides, give you some talk points, and I believe that we'll have all this deck will be available for public consumption, correct? Afterwards?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to bring it up for you now.
All right. Sean, and I'm really glad that you asked us to talk about this, because I think a lot of resellers either accidentally become lifestyle businesses. They're not growing, they're not making enough money. When they when they reflect on the dreams they had when they decided to start their business, they're a lot more glamorous than they are now. People are working too hard and not on track to achieve their life goals. And it's not on purpose; it's on accident. They become a lifestyle business. And today's session is really, how do you get out of that? How do you take your business and turn it into more of a money-making machine, more of a business that people want to buy if you decide to sell, the kind of business that can help, maybe how do you grow up and be able to afford Sean Lardo's hat? I mean, there's a lot of dreams that we all have, and frankly, a lot of people have hit roadblocks. They're kind of in a spot where they're not really sure what to do next, and frankly, they have a passion for service, they have a passion for technology. They've done a great job assembling a collection of services and technologies to sell, and yet they're not on path. They're not on path to achieve their goals, and it's really unfortunate, because I think a lot of us know what we want to do. At least we did, and now we're just struggling to figure out how do you get on the right track. And a lot of people are in this mode. I think it's probably most of the industry. In fact, we did a survey that just really where people struggle. What's the struggle of an MSP? And almost every single one of them said the exact same thing, which is they don't know how to get leads. They're struggling to grow their business. 94% of MSPs cite that as the number one factor that they running their business. So,
right.
The reality is, what we're going to talk about today is how you get out of that. How do you get out of that quagmire? How do you kind of get yourself on a track toward achieving your goals? And it all starts off with a plan. At the end of the day, what you've got to do to get to the profit, stage, you've got to get your sales up. You can't get where you want to go unless sales are growing, because there's a foundational level of cost of running a business with real estate and whatever. And you just got to find more ways to add revenue. And for most resellers, they're pretty darn good at sales. You get them in the door and they're pretty good at wooing the customer, generating the trust and closing it. Very good on word of mouth, and they're pretty good on non-word of mouth leads as well. But they just don't have enough leads, right? They don't have enough leads to achieve their goals. And so what I wanted to do today is to really kind of start off with, figuring out and talking about that dream. Where do we need the business to go to be the valuation that we want it to have, right? If you come with a standard valuation of roughly 1 times annual recurring revenue and just kind of start off with an assumption about what the value of your company is going to be, you can back into what you need your company to be revenue-wise, right? In this example, $6 million in revenue will get you a valuation of roughly $6 million. And how do you get there, right? In this example, it's how do you get from 100,000 now to 500,000? And those numbers might be different. 6 million to Sean Lardo is like nothing, whereas 6 million to me is a tremendous amount of money. I mean, he burns 6 million in his fireplace every Friday night.
Well, it gets chilly here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
and I want to save the trees, even though the money's made from trees. But I'm teaching everybody a life lesson that I'm going to burn this if you keep making it.
Yeah, well, he likes the way the flame has that little ticker of green when the ink is burning, and it's just weird, but whatever. Anyway, my point is that there's a plan. There's a way to get there, and it's not that complicated. People make it a lot harder than it actually is. In this example, you're adding $6,600 a month in recurring revenue. Sean, what's the average number of phone system VoIP solutions you need to sell to add 6,600 in recurring revenue?
6,600? That's a good question. See, I'm math's not my strong point. Hold on. 6,600 in recurring revenue for phones. You're looking at
5 to 10, maybe 5 to 10 sales.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, 10 sales for the average person selling 10 to 15 phone lines per. Yeah, easily.
Okay. All right. So Sean would only need 10 or 15 leads to get 10 or 15 sales, but the rest of us, we don't win them all, so we got to get a little bit more. But my point with this exercise is just that all you have to do is to get the number of leads that you mathematically need to achieve your revenue goal, and all of a sudden the dream you had about what your future looks like becomes an expectation. It's a linear basis. This graph literally just adds 6,600 in recurring revenue, and in 60 months, it goes from a valuation of about $1 million to a valuation of about $6 million. So, you can almost buy a house in Sean Lardo's neighborhood with that kind of money. So, let's kind of walk through what it takes to get there, right? So, most MSPs don't know your numbers. So, I know math's not your strong suit, Sean, but everyone else on here is probably a lot smarter than you. So, get a piece of paper out, maybe a calculator. We're going to actually help everyone on this call right now determine what they have to do to achieve their dreams. And it's very simple. And there's only one number that you have to call to once you have the number, but you got to get the number. So let's go through it. So we obviously need a wealth target, to go after. And for most of us, our MSP is our value, right? We don't have a lot of stocks and bonds. We don't all live in Sean's neighborhood of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of homes. Our wealth is tied up in the value of our business. So for most of us, the personal wealth target is pretty darn close to the business value target. So, to live like Sean, what do you think, Sean? You need to maybe have 10 million in the bank, 20, something like that. So let's start with some sort of
slow. Are we talking about like a slow day?
It's a bad year. So people are coming off 2020, and I know you only eat caviar 6 days a week right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good year for 2020 for us. I don't know. I can't say that. So if it's a slow day, yeah, you're looking like 10 mil.
Okay. All right. So we'll kind of go with that. So to get to 10 million in money, you got to have that in terms of revenue, right? So what we have to do is to figure out what revenue we need on an annual basis. And let's start off with the current state. So our business value target, if we want that to be the amount of money we sell our business for, and let's say that's 10 million in the current state, you're going to divide by the number of years remaining to get the annual revenue that you need. So I'm going to back off, living like Sean is hard. So I'm going to back off a little bit, but actually my example is exactly what it takes to live like Sean Lardo. So we're going to start off with a $10 million business value target. And let's say our business is currently valued at about $1 million, and we want to live like Sean and live in Sean's neighborhood in 10 years. That's our dream. And so what does that mean? We have to increase our revenue by $900,000 a year. So I want everyone on the call to follow this math for themselves to figure out how much revenue they need to add every year to live like Sean Lardo. So we'll go ahead and keep going. So in this example, we're taking our dream revenue minus what we have now, dividing that by how long we want to take to achieve that goal, and that's the amount of revenue we have per year. Now, adding $900,000 in per year in revenue may sound like a lot, and for some of it's statistically impossible because we're not doing what it takes to get that revenue, which is why we're going to continue with this math problem here. So we got to figure out how many customers we need to get $900,000 in annual revenue. So what do we have to do? I take that annual revenue and divide that by the number of active clients that we have today to get our average annual revenue per client. So if I'm at $1 million now and I have 40 clients, that means my average annual revenue per client is $25,000. Sean, did you follow that?
No habla.
No habla español. Okay. All right. So what we have is the number, our average annual revenue per client. Now, it's important that you use your numbers here because everybody's business is unique. No one is the same. And frankly, if I tell you your numbers, you're not going to believe me because you think I don't know your business. So we're going to use your numbers. I want everyone to use their numbers in this exercise, but I'm just using a theoretical example for illustration. So I have $25,000 annual revenue. So now I know that I need a number of clients to get to $900,000 annual revenue, and I have the numbers I need to calculate that. I take the annual revenue that I need of $900,000, I divide that by my average annual revenue of $25,000, and now I know that I need 36 clients a year. Sean, statistically speaking, if I get 36 new clients a year, am I on track to live like Sean Lardo?
No.
Yes, exactly wrong, Sean. Your math skills have haunted you again. Once you're getting 36 clients a year, you're now on track to achieve your dreams. Now, Sean is very good at sales and very good at marketing, so the rest might be easier for him. But now we at least know how many clients we need. So we got to get 36 new clients. So you might ask yourself, how do I get 36 clients? And it all comes down to leads. How many leads do I need to get 36 clients? I'm going to divide the number of clients that I need by the close ratio of my sales team to get the number of leads I need. So in this example, I need 36 new clients a year, and my close ratio is 25%, obviously significantly less than Sean's would be. And that means that I need to get 144 leads per year. Now, the same premise that we built on the previous slide applies here. As soon as I'm getting 144 leads per year, or what is that per month, Sean? In your advanced scale skills, what's 144 divided by 12?
144 divided by 12? Is that what you said to me?
Yeah.
12.
He's using a calculator behind the scenes right now, right?
12. I'm looking right at you. 12.
Oh, okay, great, Sean. So these numbers are kind of even and nice for you. That's great. So basically, as soon as you're getting 12 leads a month, you're now on track to achieve your dreams, right? So Sean, if this is so simple, it's just this simple, it's just math, right?
I have to ask, where does Common Core come into this? Because I need to learn about Common Core math more. Can we do a class on that next, if you don't mind?
My kids are going to have to teach you that, John. I learned it the old-fashioned way with memorization and logic and structured thinking. I don't know what evil person came up with Common Core, but wow.
Certain people we know love Common Core. We've been lectured on it.
Really?
Yes, but I'm not going to mention any names like Morny Stockman from Lifecycle Insight. But yeah. Wow. So yeah, let's keep going here. I love math.
Okay, so now that we know the number of leads we need 144 leads a year or 12 leads a month to achieve our goals. And the reality is that very few MSPs get 12 leads a month. So therefore, they're very unlikely to be able to follow this example toward achieving their dreams. But the reason for that is also almost the exact same for every MSP, right? This is what it takes to achieve your dreams. All you have to do is get 12 leads per month, and you are on track. Matter of fact, your dreams become expectations at that point because you're mathematically set to achieve them. But the reason most people don't get it done is because they don't invest what it takes to get a lead because they don't understand what a lead is really worth to them. So we're going to go into that right now. We're going to figure out what our average lifetime revenue is per client. We're going to take our average annual revenue per client, multiply that by the number of years we keep clients, and that's going to give us our average lifetime revenue per client. So we have that $25,000 average, but on average, Sean, we're going to keep our clients for 10 years. Again, everyone's numbers are going to be different, and that's going to give them their average revenue per client of $250,000. So when you start thinking about how long you keep a customer, you figure out that they're worth a lot more than you realize. So what we want to do is to take that average lifetime revenue per client and figure out how much profit each customer brings us over time. So you're going to multiply that by your company's net profit percentage, which is your owner's comp plus your company profit, to get your average lifetime profit per client. So we're going to take that $250,000, and in this case, we make 15% net profit. That means every customer that I bring in is worth $37,500 on average. And we're using averages because averages are very easy to maintain, right? You want to take and average in the unicorns that you got that are big money, and then the little tiny customers to get your average. So in this example, every customer that I get, every net new customer I get is like the equivalent of putting $37,500 in my pocket. It may not feel like that, but that's what actually is going to happen. So what do I need to do? I got to figure out what a lead's worth. So I take that average lifetime revenue per client and we multiply it by our sales close ratio, and that's going to give us what the value of a lead is to us. So in this example, they got $37,500 profit. We have that 25% close ratio. That means that a lead is worth, drum roll please, $9,375. Sean, if I asked you if you would be willing to give me $9,374 to give you a lead, would you have done it?
No.
No, Sean isn't smart enough to do that. Where now everybody on this call is, because every lead that's given to you is worth $9,375. So as soon as you pay $1 less than that, it makes sense to do it. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit. The good news is that leads don't cost anywhere close to $9,375. So what we have to do is to change our mental state and start being logical about marketing instead of emotional. Instead of being afraid of something we don't understand, we have to start taking chances and investing in ourselves and frankly, balancing out the investment that we make in our business to be a little bit less about service and a little bit more about sales and marketing. So that's really what a lead is worth to you. So that's the bottom line. Every time you get a lead, it's worth $9,375. And the beautiful thing, Sean, the beautiful thing is that a lead costs a tiny fraction of $9,375. Sean, in this example, if I was able to put together a program that cost $1,000 to get a lead, every time I give the lead to you, how much am I actually giving to you and your estate?
In my estate?
Yeah, your estate. Estate, not your state.
How much are you charging again?
I'm charging $1,000 a lead.
Carried the one right around $8,375.
Yes.
Oh my
God. Sean, you should, congratulations. Subtraction. You've now done second grade math.
Yes.
That's great.
I knew I'd get this.
The reality, guys, is that's what a managed services lead might cost, $1,000 or so. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, but a ballpark there. And the beautiful thing is that most MSPs, when they run this math, they'll find out that a lead is worth anywhere from $4,000 to $20,000. So there is no marketing program that I know of that works at all that produces leads at a loss for an MSP. In other words, the reason most MSPs struggle is they're not being logical in their decision to invest in marketing. Marketing is critically important, and the reason is because people make decisions before they talk to you. The reality is you think your close ratio might be 75%, but you're not even getting invited to almost every managed services opportunity in your market because you think that it's the salesperson's job to get a lead. But Sean, we know that without marketing, salespeople don't have anything to do. Marketing job is to get leads, sales job is to close them. And almost every salesperson in MSP fails for this exact reason. They simply are not given the number of leads that they mathematically need to achieve the business's goals. Sean, have you ever worked for a company that didn't give you enough leads to meet your sales goals?
That's impossible in my life. I always make my sales goals, Terry. But I have had to struggle with it though, and make sure we get on the track of actually discussing how you get to the leads. Because you're absolutely right. I think you said something very valid with, sales. Their job is to convert these leads. You gotta get the leads in. You gotta get that top of funnel done. And without them, there's really no work to be done. It's almost like you're going to build a house without tools. Right.
You're asking a salesperson to market is about as silly as asking a marketing person to sell. They're two different skill sets, two different capabilities. And frankly, when you ask a salesperson to market, they normally suck at it. Sean, you don't suck at anything, do you?
My selection and friends. Other than that, though, no.
Yeah, I can see that. I can testament to that. So at the end of the day, your profit gear is very much, it turns your sales gear turns your profit gear. Your sales gear is turned by your lead gear, and your lead gear is turned by marketing. So the little gears we have here, marketing strategy, website, your list, social media, and a marketing automation platform, that's how you turn the marketing gear. Appointment setters help convert marketing leads into sales leads. That's appointment setting. Sales sales are improved with training, with better sales collateral, and sales management and mentoring, which is why I call Sean once a week for sales mentoring advice. And then some people need some business consulting, and that's where the profit gear is. So it's really not complicated, and frankly, the decision to not grow and not achieve your dream is usually just a decision not to invest in lead generation. So Ray would always give you the number of leads you need to achieve your goal, Sean.
Ray, actually, I would say this: when Ray and I decided that we were going to work together, the first conversation we had was about how we would scale the business, how we would really make that dent that we wanted to, and the imprint that we wanted to on this. And it was actually a great conversation, because he understood, even because if people don't know this much about Ray, he's very analytical. He's very thorough in this stuff. So we talked about how we get these numbers, and it came to the realization that it's exactly what you said before about sales are there to convert the leads. Got to get leads. I mean, granted, sales should have an involvement in helping with lead generation. Let's be very clear, because they do. They build relationships. Relationships turn into leads, turn into business.
Yep. I agree.
But we had that conversation about it, and we built a program around marketing, doing things like this, for instance, and other events that we're involved in. And it was very much to do that, to generate the right amount of leads to get to where we wanted to get to revenue-wise.
Cool. So be like Sean. Get the number of leads that you need to achieve your revenue goals, and you will end up living the life of leisure that he lives, and working with someone as generous as his boss is. So that's the thing. So Sean, I'd like your opinion here. Wow, Ray needs $1 million or $2 million or $20 million. I'm not sure what that number was. It came up fast.
It's like if that's not okay. No, Ray.
That's like 1 billion leads a week. How many net new customers is he bringing in a week to get with the 1 billion leads you give him? Maybe he's not as good of a salesperson as I thought he was.
That's fake news. Fake news.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So how do you get there? How do you build a marketing program that works? And the answer is starting off with figuring out who you're marketing to. The reality is not all of us can close all types of deals. Not all of us can close all sizes of customers, all geographic markets. So it's really important that you define who your customer is based on your strengths and weaknesses, what kind of problems you solve, and what your ideal customer is. Who do you make money on? Who do you enjoy servicing? And frankly, what makes you different? And then when you look at your market, you'll figure out how many people you can target. That's your ideal prospect profile. And then you market to them. You do a combination of inbound marketing and outbound marketing. It's way more complicated than it sounds, because it's actually takes a skill. It takes a talent to market. Sean doesn't have it clearly, but he knows enough to hire the people who do have those skills to help him through this. So you take that ideal prospect partner, ideal prospect profile, and then you create lead magnets and online inbound marketing to help people that are looking for you find you when they're searching and that type of thing. And then you do outbound marketing, where you're calling people or going to conferences, what Sean calls building relationships, which is actually just drinking at high volume. That's outbound marketing. And when you combine those two things together, you start actually generating sales and customers and start achieving dreams.
I agree with the relationship building is having, a nightcap. I agree. I typically just have, like seltzer water and a lime.
I personally know that's not the case. I've seen you drink more than my aquarium fish over here do. Sean, I'm sure your expense report reflects that. Is that true, Ray?
I'm just
pretty brutal.
Well, maybe watch the tech bar. You'll see that I don't really drink that much. I have a sip here and there, and then I drink chamomile tea.
Yeah. But spiked to 151. I've seen you. All right. So marketing is important. So inbound marketing is things that are helping people that are looking for you find you. That's a great website. Search engine optimization, pay-per-click marketing or search engine marketing, social media marketing, social media advertising, which is when you pay for reach, PR, when you're like getting press releases and getting people to cover you, and content marketing. That's inbound marketing. Again, toward that ideal prospect profile. And then you call them. You go to the trade shows, you go direct mail. That's how you're reaching out and trying to find people who might be interested in your service. And then the most important thing for an MSP, because we don't have the patience it takes for those marketing activities to work, because it could take years, is to pick up the dad burn phone. So we have teams of people. That's all they do. Make 2,000 calls a month to get their partners leads. All that marketing you can do internally. The key is to actually build enough capability within your team to do it right, because bad marketing can actually do more damage than good, for sure.
So real quick here, Keith had said about you need to define your customers first, and that's a big issue with marketing to the wrong leads.
Yep. That's that ideal prospect profile we were talking about. And you're right, because a lot of MSPs can't sell to the people they dream about selling to. Everybody's like, oh, I want big customers. Well, are you good enough to close a deal with a big customer where your competition is big firms with big departments and you have to compete against people like Sean? Sometimes you need to focus on what you're good at, and focus on the type of customer that you can actually win, which for a lot of us might be a smaller customer, and there's nothing wrong with that.
How do you develop a strategy for finding your target audience? How do you do this? How do you get into this?
So the reality is you work with a marketing firm that can help you do that, or hire a marketing professional to lead your internal marketing initiative that can help you translate that goal into a reality. But a good example might be when you purchase a list. If you want to do email marketing or telemarketing, you have to start off with a database. And so what you want to do is to start off investing real money in a great list. So you might say, listen, I want to focus on people that have between 5 and 100 employees within 40 miles of my office across all industries except for state and local government. And all of a sudden you buy that list and it's 10,000 people, and that's your market. That's your target market fitting your ideal prospect profile. And you hit it. You start marketing to those people with email, phone, social, everything. And you start getting the type of leads that you can close. And if you can't close them, start investing in your sales skills so that you can.
What about as far as considering that there's a lot of MSPs were successful by physical presence, going in, talking to people? That's right now not happening.
Yep.
We touched it earlier about webinars and whatnot like this, but that maybe not be the most effective thing for us. We're talking on a national platform at this point, right?
Yeah.
They're talking local. So is there any suggestions on what they should look to do with that?
Figure it out. Invest in the tools. You don't give up. A lot of people, literally, Sean, you laugh, but we have a lot of people that are just like, I'm waiting. I'll continue to tread water for 4 more months, and that's a mistake, because we talked about the hybrid work environment of the future. The decision makers may be in another state or not be in the office, and getting to the office may be difficult. So it's important for you to learn how to sell people where they are and how they want to be sold. And for a lot of people, it's about building relationships virtually. It's about working a sales process that works virtually. And frankly, going in with the right attitude, because failure is not an option. Absolutely.
Let's go back to also, you talked about outbound marketing, inbound marketing.
Yep.
I like outbound marketing. Simple things we know are email campaigns, social media, et cetera, right? What about inbound marketing? How can somebody make inbound marketing more effective?
Inbound marketing for MSPs is a long game. If you're going to optimize your website and invest all your money in SEO, you better be patient, man, because in B2B IT marketing, it can take up to 29 touch points to get a lead, and sometimes even much more than that. So if you think about it, I'm going to wait for one person to Google managed services Memphis 29 times to get that lead. And so what do? The most important thing that you can do is to make sure that inbound does find you through search engine optimization, through pay-per-click, and frankly, having a website that you're proud of. It's really cheap to look good. It really is. It's hard to be good, but it's cheap to look good. So have a website that you're proud of, that's amazing, that makes you look as good or better than you really are, because it's not that expensive to do, and it can make the difference between someone going to your website and thinking you're Bush League and leaving, and someone going to your website and picking up the phone and calling you.
Absolutely. What about like social media business pages, LinkedIn, Facebook, stuff like that?
Yeah. A lot of people, see a lot of amateur hour marketers go on their personal Facebook page and market their business. They go on their company Facebook page or LinkedIn page and market their business. And while it's not a waste of time, it's nowhere near the ROI that you're speaking of. In fact, most people find that they get approximately 0 leads a month from those activities. The reason is twofold. First, they're on the wrong platform. Facebook can get you a lot of traffic, but it's hard to find qualified leads there. But the number one thing, honestly, is they're not putting money behind their posts. You gotta put out ads. You gotta promote your posts. You've got to pay for reach. because Google makes nothing on free posts. They made it hard to reach prospective people because that's their business model. You know, they get businesses to pay to reach people, so that you basically have to pay to reach people. And then, we believe LinkedIn is a very powerful platform for MSPs. In fact, it's the #1 source of qualified leads on social media, but you got to do it right. You can't just post stupid stuff or make yourself look foolish online. In fact, you can destroy a reputation in one post. What you've got to do is to invest in doing it right. Using LinkedIn Sales Navigator to reach your target audience, creating a gradual professional drip campaign of communication to your prospects, putting money behind very professional posts. Make yourself look good, real good, almost as good as Sean.
Yeah, that takes a lot of work.
It's a dream none of us will ever achieve, but it's a dream.
I mean, I owed all of my, old days, working the streets. I would say
street worker.
I work at all of my. I moonlight. But wow. I owe it all to the Rose, Keith Nelson, that apparently raised me without me knowing he raised me. He was a really good, absent father. So I believe somebody asked the question before Brian did, what does Marketopia do?
Yeah, helps you achieve your goals by achieving the number of leads you need to achieve them. We do it for a lot of MSPs and vendors. We have a Sean Lardo program to get you to 10 million in 5 years. That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
I expect to see some marketing out about that with my name on there.
Okay. Be like
special.
Okay.
So all right. So I think you're finished with the deck, correct?
Yeah, man. Really, it's all about, answering questions from people, and I'm sure you have some ideas on things we need to go into more depth on.
So yeah, so a couple of things that we hear often. I know we talk about lead generation. That's a big part. It's one of the biggest problems. I think, I've been working with MSPs for a long time also. And one thing I always heard was they convert 90% of their leads. Now, you come to find that 100% of leads are all referrals.
Right.
So how would somebody even, let's take this one step further in the relationship building aspect and business development too. With those 10 leads, or however many leads they get in the year, how can they multiply it? How can they add to that? How can they get more? Instead of just talking to one person, how do they get to talk to 2 people from the same lead?
So, word of mouth is the best form of lead, right? At the end of the day, someone else is putting their reputation on the line to elevate you to trusted advisor status when you walk in the door. So it's yours to lose. Your close ratio on a word of mouth lead should be 100%, because if, for instance, their CPA recommends you, it should be yours to lose. So word of mouth close ratio goes to 100. The problem with word of mouth is it doesn't scale. And eventually you're going to lose more customers than you get in referrals every month, right? Right. So what do you do about it? You actually have to go out there and find more prospects. You have to market. That's called marketing. You don't see Steve Jobs waiting for people to be interested in his iPhone. You go out there and you realize he's marketing the heck out of Apple and making billions in the process. And MSPs need to do the exact same thing, just at a different scale.
So Jay said, you appear to solve the marketing piece. Yes, Jay, this is a marketing conversation. His next point was, who solved the sales piece? Well, that's, every time we talk to MSPs about when they're going to hire a sales rep or how they do sales, you got to determine the responsibilities of the salesperson first. What is it you're really looking for out of the person? Is it a salesperson? Is it a BDR? Is it an appointment setter? Who's going to close the deals? Who's going to open relationships? Is this person going to do all of the above? Again, these are things you have to decide on. And as far as solving the sales piece, everything comes back to processes first, and then there's a talent set behind it. There's a skill set behind the process.
We have a training and e-learning environment called trainingforyoutogrow.com. For the number 4, the letter U, the number 2, and then the word grow.com. Trainingforyoutogrow.com. But I'll be honest with you, man, a lot of MSP business owners are actually pretty darn good salespeople. It's getting in the door that they stink at. And the reason is because it's really hard to do that, and they don't have the patience or inclination to do it. But if you get them in the door, they'll close their fair share of leads, especially if you have a compelling offering. Like right now, for instance, selling VoIP would be a very powerful thing, because we're all starting to accept the new reality that people need to be able to work wherever they want, whenever they want, however they want. And they want to work with vendors that don't compete with them, they channel focused vendors that they, can set the price and and offer a great service. So you got to go out there and find leads to increase the sales, because word of mouth is not going to get you where you want to go. You can't outserve the market's ability to beat you by lost clients. And I think all of us have learned that lesson in the last 12 months. You just never know how many of your customers might leave in a short period of time. And you've got to always be on the offense. You've got to have a source of leads so that you can always bring in net new clients, so that you can get rid of the crappy clients that don't make any money and replace any clients that leave. And then, of course, we got to get our revenues up to get the valuation where we need it to be to live in Sean Lauder's neighborhood.
Absolutely. Can you repeat that address again? That website was it
trainingforyoutogrow.com. I think they got it there. Is that working?
Yep. Yep. It's up. Oh, sorry. Let me show it again. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's very cheap. In fact, it's a week for free. So everyone out there can go out there and try a little bit of it. Training goes well with Malbec wine. I find that talking to Terry with a bottle of Malbec is a great way to spend a Saturday, Sunday, really every night. But anyway, it's great training, and it's cheap, and I certainly recommend it. And then if you get the leads you need and start getting better at closing deals, all of a sudden now, we have customers that add 20 or 30,000 recurring a month to their revenue. I mean, think about that. How many people? It wouldn't take long to achieve most people's dreams if you're adding 30 grand a month RMR every month, and
that'd be impressive.
All you got to do is to get the number of leads that you need mathematically to get that number of sales, to get that revenue number. It's not that difficult. Marketing, Brian, is not a strategy in itself. We do it by itself, but frankly, I don't recommend it. You've got to do marketing. So you should have a great website. You should do LinkedIn marketing. We offer marketing packages and then appointment setting packages, and the most successful and happy clients do both. And the reason is because they won't do either one. So they need someone else to do it for them. If we do it, we'll just walk them in the door and then they close the deal.
So here, and you'll love this one. Here's Keith. Keith will tell you he's the worst salesperson ever. He always does. However, he constantly closes deals. He has a very good business, but he actually said something relatively intelligent earlier in this conversation, which was, great service, taking care of the customers, getting them to say how good you did with them. That's how you generate more revenue, which I couldn't agree more. But, word of mouth, $6 million in annual sales with a high margin. And then he just said this, adding $2 million this quarter via word of mouth. Now, but something Keith does, he doesn't even discuss when he says this, is he also is an active member in the Chamber of Commerce. They ask him to do talks all the time. So he's constantly engaging. So he is doing that business development. He won't say it that way. He sees it as helping everybody, which is admirable. But the fact is that is a marketing piece. That is, you're the evangelist for your company.
Yep. And if that's his goal, that's all he doesn't need me or you or anybody else, right? At the end of the day, if you're on track to achieve your dreams, you're doing what it takes, you're doing it right. You don't need this conversation. Maybe you should teach it. That if you're one of those people who would like to add $2 million a quarter in RMR and you can't figure out how to do it, well, that's where marketing might come in. But if you're achieving your dream, if you're on track to achieve your goals, then that's where we all want to be. That's called contentment. And that's achievement, man. You're on the right track. Good for you.
Absolutely. Let me pull up.
As long as you're selling the VoIP products, right? If he's doing that without selling OIT, he's doing it the wrong way.
I agree. Keith and I had that conversation regularly. He's not, he's a little slow at times, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
So Brian had asked about the average cost for your services.
Marketing, it depends on how much money you want to spend on digital. The price really depends on what needs to be done to achieve the number of leads that you're looking for. But starting point's usually $2,500, $3,000 for marketing, $2,500, $3,000 for appointment setting, kind of starting points. But what we do is to run this math with you to figure out how many leads you need. And let's say it's 4. We build a marketing program designed to get you 4. And if it's 12, we get 12. If it's 100, we get 100. We have customers here that have 20 callers, 20 appointment setters. So we're generating hundreds of leads a month. Everyone's dreams are different. The key is to work with a marketing partner who will help you figure out how your dreams translate into lead quantity, and they can execute a campaign to get you that number of leads, or do it internally. Once you know your number, you can hire 5 people, build out your marketing team, and go at it yourself if you prefer it, or work with a third party.
Awesome. And Keith again said he speaks on community service, not tech. I know, Keith, you don't speak on tech. However, you're still in front of business owners and they still listen to you and they do inquire about you. It's just passive. Some people, and I think that's a good lesson that a lot of MSPs need to learn. They don't put themselves out there. It's like the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And that's not the case, because if you build it, nobody's coming unless they know you built it. And people follow you based off the way you carry yourself.
Good point.
Um,
PR, right?
Are they COVID-free leads?
We specialize in COVID-free leads.
You're gonna have to forgive Brian. He's from Baltimore. It's not his fault.
Oh, geez. We don't have COVID down in Florida, guys. We're up and open. Full restaurant capacity. We took the approach of putting signs up at the border. Welcome to Florida. COVID not allowed, and that stopped it. It's really worked well for us.
All right, Keith. How do you set a follow-up for appointment settings?
How do you set up follow-up for appointment settings? The way Marketopia does it is we actually track the lead to close. So we set the appointment, make sure it holds. If it doesn't hold, reschedule it and get it held. And then we track it through the sales process. We care if our customers close deals, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's helping people achieve their dreams. And if they're not closing deals, they're not achieving their dreams. So we have a sales process that we could do, Sean, in another training session. The Rose wants a better sales process in terms of follow up and follow through. We've got a great sales process. Go to the e-learning library and look at Deep Dive to Marketopia Sales Methodology. Is a good overview on how you should run your sales machine, and that process works for hundreds of MSPs around the world.
Absolutely. So, but I think the main point is the word process.
Mm-hmm. You can't just go out there and talk price. You can't go out there and talk tech. There's a process to build trust. Most of our customers get 3 and 5 year managed services contracts with annual price escalations and automatic renewal. And you're not going to get that without building a trusted advisor relationship first.
Absolutely. According to Ray in Miami, Florida, also COVID doesn't exist in Florida.
Exactly right.
I know.
He's right. We banned it.
And you're right, Keith. You should have used the no COVID sign on your door. Okay.
For guns in schools. I mean, it's a good strategy. Just put a sign out there and everyone will make it,
Very, very true. So, in reflection of this, you're talking outbound marketing, inbound marketing. What else are we talking here? Sales process, business development, and what else? What am I missing?
I think everyone needs to leave with this one thing, which is no one that works as hard as our industry works, with the people as good as this industry has in terms of the quality of the people in it. Everyone that I know in this space is a great heart, trying to do the right thing the right way. Everyone deserves to achieve their dreams. So if you leave with one thing, it's the math equation, right? Understand that you got to convert that dream you have for yourself into a lead goal, and then do what it takes to achieve that goal, and be willing to invest what it takes to get it, because most MSPs don't, which is why most MSPs struggle, and why most MSPs, never achieve their dreams is a very simple decision, which is to do what it takes to achieve their dream. It's a decision. It's a willingness to take a risk and make an investment. But as soon as you have the number of leads you mathematically need to achieve your dreams become expectations. And that's what I want for our clients. And Sean, I know that's what I know you want for your partners. Absolutely.
It's a very common conversation, is how do they make that move? It is a thought transformation as well, though. It becomes a discipline to make that investment mentally and then financially as well. I think that's the biggest conversation we have.
Totally agree. I think engineer, our industry is filled primarily with engineer owner operators, and we love buying tech. We love hiring techs. We love computers. We love tools. We love systems. But we hate sales and marketing. We hate sales people, marketers. Yet we got to learn to love them if we want to achieve our goals.
Absolutely. I listed your website on the banner, scrolling banner. So if anyone wants to check them out, marketopia.com. I highly recommend it, at least to look into it. If at the very least, at least be an eye opener, an education of where you guys possibilities. If anybody else has any questions, I'll get this wrapped up and give you guys a couple minutes back of your time. I'll wait for about 30 seconds because Keith will say something right at the last minute. I know he will, because that's what he does. He's busy talking about he lived in the ghetto, and that's sad because he has like a beautiful backyard. He does like, it's like,
Sean, I used to live in the ghetto too.
Yeah, me too. But it looks like Miyagi's backyard where he lives. Let's be honest. And nicer. He's already been out there smoking cigars and been on screen with us. But I do want to talk about, while we're waiting, upcoming events that we have coming up with us, because we have a lot on the schedule. If you guys can see this, I know, always. Next week, Thursday, Tech Bar with Cynthia Schreiner from Langard. That should be really good. If you guys haven't tuned into that, 6:30 Eastern Standard, every other Thursday we do this. Partner First webinar on the 17th. I'm not going to go through all these, that's for sure. But eliminate 5 risks that could help, that could end your MSP. This is with Bradley Gross and the other host, which he's all right, Ray. And then we have Tech Bar with one of our own partners, which very successful MSP out of Ohio. They're also Ohio State fans, as they should be. CNWR. But I'm not going to go any further than that because we have a lot of stuff going on. Would love to see you guys all attend. Love community engagement. By the way, that's a good marketing ploy too, marketing engagement, community. So get involved in your local community and make an impact. That's one of the biggest things we talk about all the time. Any parting words, Terry?
Just that, achieve your dreams. Do what it takes to achieve them so that you don't have any regrets in life. Leave it all on the table. You only get one chance. For a lot of us, our dreams are tied up in our business. May as well make it a successful one. And finally, if you want to be Sean, if you want to dress like Sean, have Sean's facial hair, if you want to live in his neighborhood and have an attic, maybe even tattoos, you got to grow your business to make the kind of money that Sean makes. So do yourself a favor, invest in your success, invest in your business, do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your employees, and do it for the customers that deserve to have you, but don't even know you exist.
I love that. That was probably the most eloquent things I've ever heard you say. And I mean, the bar was low, but it was really good.
Yeah, well, we did all the shots before this started, and I think they started to kick in.
Well, Terry, thank you for joining, man. I seriously appreciate you doing this. Everybody, thank you for attending. I hope you guys got stuff out of this. We will be sharing this on social. It's on our YouTube channel, OITVOIP. For the recording, but we will have the presentation you put together. We'll have it as a link. We'll throw it on social, and so you guys will all have access to it. But thank you all for attending. See you next time. Peace out, Girl Scouts.